that you may have.
Any questions of Kimberly?
I don't have any questions. I just want to applaud your staff. I know that they are professionals and they've been trained to do this work, but no one is trained to examine bodies of 10 and 11-year-olds who are almost unidentifiable because of the type of guns that were used. And then a month later to have bodies upon bodies from other countries. So I just really applaud your staff, and I'm glad that I was able to help them a little bit with the consulates. And so if there's anything we can do, then we're here to serve our county employees. Thank you for your work.
Judge, and real quick, Dr. Molina, I want to just echo that, I guess it was it about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, that we appointed you officially? I mean, it seems like, I know it's been a blur, but I know you probably could not have anticipated, none of us, some of the incidents, circumstances that you and your team have had to deal with over the past couple years, and more specifically, the last 6 to 8 weeks, I'm sure has been traumatic, not just for them, but for their families. So thank you. Remind me, Dr. Molina, how many folks are on your staff at the ME's office?
We currently have 61 employees.
Okay. Well, I know. I wish we could fill the room with them, because we certainly do appreciate them. So if you could relay that to them, our appreciation. We're certainly going to take that to heart as we look at the budget. I'd also say, I don't know if there's anything that staff we can do. I know there's some provisions in ARPA related to premium pay, but I think we ought to look at anything we can. I know your folks don't do this for the money, and they're public servants, but if there's something that staff can look at that maybe bring back to us related to some kind of one-time supplement, maybe out of ARPA, for these folks who've just been working tirelessly for our community behind the scenes, without recognition publicly, just doing the work. I wanted to give some direction to staff to bring us some recommendation back.
Good. Yeah, David, take a look at that. Well, I'll be out there Friday with you, I think at 2 o'clock. Just express my appreciation. But we will be taking up the budget. In fact, we'll be debating it fairly soon. And generally, we vote around September the 10th, and we'll be taking care to make sure we do right by your office. David, when will we have forensic moved out of those offices, giving medical examiner additional room? How long will it be before that happens?
I want to say it's for sure within the year, because they have to remodel the space the crime lab's going into.
Okay.
But we've secured the property. It's ours, so the work has started on that.
So within a year?
Yeah, it may be sooner, Judge.
Okay, good. Well, the sooner the better. Again, what you had to do with the tragedy of the immigrants, just a short period of time after the tragedy in Uvalde. I know you went up to Uvalde when that tragedy occurred at Robb Elementary School, and brought the children here, 19 of them, and I believe you had 3 adults, 2 teachers, and the shooter to handle. And while the immigrant thing was a very, very difficult thing, the children, that had to be just very, very difficult, because the AR-15 assault weapon is very powerful and tears up your body, and I just can't imagine what your staff had to go through with that. So we can't thank them enough for that tremendous work, and we'll make sure we do you right.
Thank you, sir.
You have a comment?
Yes. Thank you so very much to you and your entire staff, and please let them know we convey that, ask you to convey that for all of your hard work. It's both physical and mental and emotional. The issues you've had to put up with, obviously. I have a question regarding the budget going forward. I may. Do you have problems hiring or retaining people? Is that also an issue with the staff, or do you said you needed more people, more staff? And I'm just wondering, with what you have now, or I'm hearing across the nation that there are issues with retaining and as well as recruiting or bringing people in and hiring. Is that an issue?
So to answer your question, it's actually in multiple parts. The first one being is that up until the COVID pandemic, our medical examiner's office has been what we would say is kind of a moderate-sized office compared to, say, Dallas or Houston, which are larger offices. Unfortunately, with the increase in population of Bexar County, us now being over 2 million, we have now hit the large office status. So we have large office caseload without large office personnel. So we need to grow our office in accordance with the increase of the population. That's part one. So part of it is we don't have the staffing. To answer the second part of your question, recruiting and retainment, our staff stay. I have investigators who've been with us 20, 30 years. I've been with the office almost 20 years. We love what we do. We love the office. And we're very, very dedicated. The problem, quite honestly, is professional staff. It's physicians. You've probably seen, you can just Google forensic pathology shortage to know there aren't enough of us. There's only about 500 forensic pathologists in the nation to serve the entire United States in what we do. So we fight each other for that. And so we are currently one medical examiner short. We've been one medical examiner short since I was granted the position over a year ago because we can't recruit. The only way to recruit professional positions is, unfortunately, with salary and with workload. We offer about a middle-of-the-road salary for physicians, which is fair. The problem is our workload is through the roof. We cannot maintain our accreditation with the National Association of Medical Examiners because our medical examiners do too much work. The upper limit for that accreditation is 250 autopsies a year per doctor. This year, our physicians are on track to perform 400 autopsies per physician. We cannot recruit with that workload. I have to have physician staff. I have to have salaries. I have to get the workload down. More importantly, the reason we have those limits from our accreditation is so we can do good work. We have to provide high-quality services to Bexar County, and in order to do that, we need staff. We have to take some of the workload off of our physicians. We need more staff to do that. We have to take some of the workload off of our staff. We need more staff to do that. It's just a matter of growth.
Thank you very much.
Judge,
Commissioner?
I just want to thank Dr. Molina and her staff for the dedication, the very words you just mentioned of 20 years plus, and many people say thank you all in the department, those who may be listening, for staying with us for so long. I am certainly supportive of getting the numbers where they need to be. I recognize we are growing, and it may be that one of the best things we can do to say we appreciate you is to back you up in the budget. So we'll look forward to taking those issues up. I will also just say on a personal note, for the first time in my life, I had to tell a wife of someone who worked for me that their loved one had passed, and your staff, me not having ever had to do something like that, was incredibly caring, professional, and amazing. And so I look forward to taking a tour and understanding more about the needs in your department, and just our thoughts and prayers are with your staff and the work you do every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you for being here. See you Friday. Okay, we got a 10, but a little early yet. 82. Yeah, get up 82. Yeah. Item number 82, discussion, appropriate action, authorizing the negotiating agreement with Baker Tilly for classification total compensation study. Tina?
Thank you. Good morning. Tina Smith-Dean with the County Manager's Office. Staff is asking Commissioners Court approval to authorize us to start negotiations with Baker Tilly to conduct a comprehensive classification and total compensation study. We released a request for proposals June 2nd, 2022. We sent it out to 810 vendors. We received 2 responses. The evaluation committee, made up of the representatives from the Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, Juvenile Probation, the Judicial Services, Human Resources, evaluated those proposals, and we are recommending Baker Tilly. Okay. The purpose of this is to do a market study for all of the pay tables in Bexar County, including the law enforcement and adult detention pay tables. We were going to look at total compensation. To your point, Judge Wolf, at a previous Commissioners Court meeting, our benefits, we want to make sure our benefits are competitive, and so we're requesting your approval to negotiate.
Judge, I'm excited that we've got this group on. I just wanted to double check in terms of their experience in the law enforcement sector. Have they done other law enforcement analyses before?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
They've done across the board in the public sector. I do have a representative here from Baker Tilly if you have any specific questions.
The big thing we would like to work with them on is the basic peace officer certification issue. We're trying to get a handle with HR on how many of our officers don't have it. There may be a way to kind of discern between those who don't have it and what and want it, and what we might budget in the compensation, total compensation. Because in the benefits, when we look at tuition reimbursement, we have a cap financially, and whether or not we're being competitive with other counties in terms of our tuition reimbursement, not just for the Sheriff's Department, but for all of our employees.
Yes, sir.
That's something I'd like to meet with them and
Absolutely.
just kind of see how they can help.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good.
Move approval.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those.
Just a quick question, Judge. I'm sorry. Tina,
Yes.
you may have said this. I might have missed it. The timeline again for implementation?
Yes, so we are going to start as soon as we get this contract done, and we are hoping to have it done November, December this year.
Okay.
That's a tight timeline, but that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know something like this is going to take, it's pretty comprehensive, so it's
Yes.
going to take some time. I just want to make sure we temper our expectations, because we'll be going through budget for fiscal year this summer, but we won't have the results of this in time for this October 1 fiscal year budget. So I would anticipate, David, we're still going to have some discussions about pay increases, and I guess we're just going to have to use the information we've got before this is implemented for this fiscal year. I don't know how.
So just to remind everyone who might be listening, this court has approved a 5% pay increase for all employees in October. And then last month you approved an additional 5%. So everyone will have gotten, who was on the payroll in October, will have gotten a 10% pay increase. Not only did you increase existing employees' pay, you increased the entry level of all those positions and all those pay grades by 10%. Additionally, so what I would tell offices and departments is they've all submitted requests, as is normal. There are a lot of requests for reclassifications. We will look at those, but some of them I may recommend deferring until we get the results of this pay study.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people request reclassifications really in an attempt to increase the compensation of an employee, not so much a recognition of a change of their job, the nature of their job.
David, I'd like you to separate out those that are critical, like the medical examiner. For years she's not been able to fill that space. That's a critical pay schedule that needs to be looked at. We need to look at the prosecutors also. Is that really an area, because we are way behind with our court systems, and we can point to a number of reasons, but I think our jail population's up to 4,600 or so, 4,500. So the critical ones that we know or we believe that we need to do something about, give them a priority.
And I agree with you, Judge. I think, I know it's hard to prioritize these things, but some of them I think are more pressing and urgent than others. I don't know, when was the last time we did anything like this comprehensively?
Comprehensively, it's been, I
No,
don't
because
even know if
we have
have.
normally rotated through the pay. So we would do Table NE 1 year, Table E the next, then the next year would be the CBA negotiations.
Right.
We've normally rotated through.
Okay. And what's the fiscal note for this?
We don't know yet.
We don't know
We're
yet.
negotiating.
We're
We're
negotiating.
asking for permission to negotiate.
Okay.
What,
Great.
I have another question. And
ahead.
so, to follow up on Commissioner Rodriguez's question, have we ever had this kind of comprehensive review, and how long ago was that?
It's been a while since we did everything all at once. It's
Years. It's been
10 years?
We started
Years.
rotating probably in 2007, 2008, every year. Before that, maybe, is when we did the last comprehensive study.
Okay, so 2007.
But we have done studies on each pay table. We've just been rotating. So this
Right.
time we're going to do them all at once.
Right. Okay. Good. By the way, I'm going to second that,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
if you don't mind, Judge.
Commissioner,
Yeah.
you have any?
Just-
Did I have a motion and a second?
I second.
Yes, and
Got
I
a
just had
motion.
one directional issue on the juvenile detention. I understand the state is not going to be accepting any more juveniles into the state system, and it partly because of a shortage of personnel, difficulty in hiring. That may put a burden on our county. Pardon me. That may put a burden on our county as well. So I want to just kind of plant that seed because we don't know how long they're going to not transfer. I know a lot of judges here probably locally prefer sending our youth in the juvenile detention center to the local facility, but it could have a regional effect. I'm not really sure if we have sharing with other counties or not, but in any event, I want to bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the worst departments in terms of turnover, Commissioner.
Yeah, so it needs
Okay, we
attention.
had a motion and a second. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Still got a few minutes. Item number 83, discussion appropriate action, use of intimate domain. Renee.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. We're requesting approval to go forward and use eminent domain authority to condemn a 6,500 square foot parcel of land along Tally Road 2, which is an MPO project. We basically have acquired 23 parcels out there. This is one of the last two to acquire. The other one we are going to have to go to condemnation on, but not for a value issue. It's because the HOA is the owner, and we have to go through that process to get clear title. This one, however, almost all those parcels of similar size that we've acquired have all been in the $25,000 range. You have several on the agenda today in that same amount. This particular landowner, he, instead of $4 a square foot, he wants $10 a square foot. He wants tenant laws. He wants us to move 4 heritage oak trees. Basically, his total value, if you add up all of his components, is well over $200,000. So we need to go ahead and go through the condemnation process. Because he's hired an attorney, we can no longer do any negotiation with him. So I'm asking for your approval.
How long would that process take?
I'm sorry?
How long do you think the process will take?
It could be anywhere from 2 months to 6 months, Commissioner.
Okay, and that will obviously hold up the construction on Tyler Road.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and which HOA did you say?
I can't, I'm sorry?
Which HOA? You said there's an HOA who has
I
the
don't know
land?
the name of the subdivision, but it's a friendly, we call it a friendly condemnation.
Okay, can you find out the name of the HOA and get
Sure,
that to my office?
sure.
All right, thank you.
Need to have a motion.
Yeah, I move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're about 5 minutes away from our 10 o'clock item. I do have one person signed up to speak under item number 7, Sam Priestes.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Thank you for allowing this time and opportunity to address our concerns. As you said, my name is Samuel Presses. I'm a retired Bexar County employee. I'm here to request a cost of living adjustment for all Bexar County retirees. There are approximately 3,100 retirees and or beneficiaries from Bexar County. The last adjustment we received, according to TCDRS, was in 2018, which amounted to approximately $24.50 per month. This was about 10% of the Consumer Price Index for 2017. Now, I don't know how this was arrived at, but that was the last. These figures, were provided by TCDRS. Since then, 2017, the Consumer Price Index has risen approximately 45 points. We all know, along with that, that inflation rates are hitting unprecedented levels at this point in time. This year alone, reaching 8.5%, and that may not be the end point. Every passing year, our dollars buy less and less. We, all retired and non-retired personnel, are being affected by this. At the grocery store, there's been an increase of approximately 27% on food and goods. At the gas pumps, and everybody knows the increases there, 32+%, and along with utility bills, medical bills, taxes, so on and so on. There's a myriad of increases. These figures are all available from TCDRS, federal government projected inflation rates, and the Consumer Price Index. These are where we arrived at these numbers. I want to touch on Social Security Administration are reviewing and considering upwards of 10% increase for 2023, taking this into consideration. Now, the Social Security Administration considers a cost of living adjustment every year. The military does that for their retirees. There are other entities. The state as well has a pathway for that, along with numerous counties that have this for their retirees. We do not have anything in place. We are on a fixed income with no process, no pathway for a COLA.
Judge, Commissioners, the time has expired.
May I ask?
Can we give them a little bit more time just to think?
And I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Consistently, you're saying there has not been a consistent COLA increase or every year, correct?
Correct.
And can you explain how sporadic that is? It has been over, let's say, the last 10, 15 years.
It's been over 12. In 2018, we received that $24.50 per month. Prior to that was before 2010. So there isn't. I don't know.
Is that true of all counties, or is that just true of Bexar County?
I can only say for Bexar County, there are several counties that do have something in place, at least a review. Okay. Some do have a regular COLA, annual. Again, we do not. This is why we're here.
Okay, thank you.
Based on how far behind we are, we're asking you to consider a 15% increase in our retirement plan. Again, we haven't had any substantial raise in over 10 years. The recent financial climate that we are in right now is really stressing those of us that are on a fixed income. We appreciate you all considering this for the 3,100 retirees. Thank you so much for this time.
Well, thank you. Thank all of you for your tremendous service. You're bringing it up at a very appropriate time. In the past years, cost of living has been minimal increases, but now it is just skyrocketed, as you said, and it's putting a lot of people that are retired on a very, very difficult situation. So we're going to have to really dig into this time because of what's happening to this country, inflation. So thank you for
Judge,
bringing it
I just wanted to
attention.
ask the auditor, I think this normally comes under your purview. Will you be bringing us something for the budget?
Yes, Commissioner. Actually, it's usually in August that we bring a presentation, but my staff has actually reached out to each individual court member staff to give individual cost numbers, and I do have some information actually.
Please.
For the past 10 years we've offered three COLA increases, and the Commissioner asked to in regards to the county. Harris County has not given any in the last 10 years. Dallas County has not given any. We've given 3. Tarrant has given 8, and Travis has given 3.
Let me for the court to consider, my experience is that it's always better when we regularly do these updates. It's much better from a budget standpoint for it not to all compound at one time for the county, that we do this on an incremental basis. We had to do a lot of catch up with our sheriff's department because we hadn't for years done the raises that we should have, and so then we had some significant 15.5% in the last union negotiation, 20.5% in this one. I think there's 2 ways to think about it. One, an annual check. The second, we could also tie it to the committee that meets on elected official salaries, that it also review the retiree salaries at the same time. There's a fairly consistent flow that's programmed in so that we elected officials don't forget, that the retirees are there. So either way, I'm supportive of a more regular basis. I just think it helps the county commissioners and the budget department not have it all hit at one time. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
We totally agree. An annual or more so than you said 3% in the last 10 years?
No, we've done 3 of them.
We've given 3 COLAs, retiree COLAs, in the last 10 years. They've consisted, of CPI and I believe some fixed also.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right.
All right. We got a 10 o'clock item.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Consideration and appropriate action regarding a resolution of court authorizing the publication of notice of intent to issue certificates of obligation for the benefit of the Bexar County Hospital District. Who's presenting this? Is George here? Or there's George.
Good morning, Commissioners. George Hernandez, University Health System CEO. With me this morning, I have Reed Hurley, our CFO. I also have Don Gonzalez, our financial advisor, and Serena Rivella, our counsel. The item before the court is notice of intent to issue certificates of obligation. Glad to answer any questions, but this supports our 2 community hospitals that the Board of Managers has placed on the capital list.
Tell us about the hospitals. Where are they, and when are you going to have them up, and what stage are you in? And
the one hospital is located across from Texas A&M, San Antonio, in land that we're in the process of purchasing, 68 acres right across from Texas A&M. The second hospital will be located at Retama, if you know where Retama Racetrack is. We've purchased part of that land there, and that's in the northeast corridor off I-35. We're looking at 2026 and 2027 for completion of both hospitals.
Okay, and how much are you asking for the amount of certificates of obligation to be issued for the 2 hospitals?
We're asking for authority for the court to issue $500 million, and we will be. That's about half the cost of what we need. We will provide the other.
You'll invest
cost.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's real good. Any other questions?
No questions, Judge. George, thank you and your team. I know that you've been very disciplined about your fiscal policy and debt management, and we appreciate that. I'd make a motion to approve this authorization.
Second.
Got a motion, second.
George, let me just let the public know that you have been responsive. We're here because you and your staff have been responsive to the Commissioners Court, and you've done it in a responsible way. Even though we commissioners recommended these kinds of things, you did the due diligence to make sure that it wasn't just a political decision, but it was a good business decision for the county, that it would actually, these facilities would pay for themselves and serve the public good. So there's going to be a big throne for you in terms of the praise for really filling two tremendous gaps regionally in the South Central and in the Northeast for medical care, and I'm just very grateful for your leadership, your team's leadership, and look forward to the progress for the community.
Thank you.
I had a motion and a second. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Item number 84, discussion appropriate action regarding Task Order 2, cooperative agreement between Bexar County, San Antonio River Authority, and the City of San Antonio for creeks and trail improvement, a preliminary engineering study to provide a link between San Antonio River and San Pedro Creek.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Tony Cañas. I'm with Facilities Management, and I'm here to present, there's actually two items, the first one being item number 84, both related to the Creeks and Trails program. So these are task order amendments that are to the cooperative agreement that we have in place with the River Authority and the City of San Antonio, and the master agreement called out task order directives would be approved by Commissioners Court to govern the specific details of each project. We have Colin Brownlow here, he's a project manager with the San Antonio River Authority, to present the two task orders to you, the first one being the agenda item for the link.
Should there be something now?
All right, if everybody wants to grab their seats, we're going to get started in just a moment with our program and make our big announcement this afternoon.
How's the commission going? Good. I'm Earl Jackson. He's our coach. Yeah. See, I see your sock game. Oh, I like that.
All righty. Thank y'all so much for coming out. What a coincidence we all just happen to be right here. It's almost as if there's something special going on. I know. In fact, there is something special going on. We're really excited about that. My name is Matt Evans. I'm the Arts Culture Manager here at San Antonio International Airport, and I have the very distinct privilege of being the MC for this event. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge some of our special guests that are here with us. Certainly want to acknowledge our Councilwoman, Dr. Andrea Rocha Garcia, who's here with us. Councilman Clayton Perry. I want to thank our Assistant City Manager, Jeff Coyle, for being here, present with us. Thank you so much for coming in. And Marco, thank you very much for joining us as well.